Hi Wahida, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so today Wahida, what I'm looking to do today is I would like to get your overview as to how things have been going for you. You have been in session with me and we're up to session 8 and you're still currently in session at the same time. So generally it's just for you to give your overview and experience of the service of how things have been going. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so just for an opening, I'm going to just open it up if you give me permission to, as to what was the reason why you came to see me.
My parents, they both passed away within a year of each other, and it kind of affected me coming into work sort of thing, and it was one of the things, it kind of kicked off something within me where I felt anxious doing things that I naturally did on a day-to-day basis. I wasn't able to go to social gatherings or do something, I don't know, something like shopping or whatnot, and so my manager from my previous department that I worked in the council with, he referred me over.
Okay.
And if something that I felt like I needed at that time, even now, because obviously anxiety got to a point it really did stop me from getting on with the simplest things in life.
Okay, and I thank you for sharing that information to me. So what I wanted to focus on was basically asking you, when you first came and you met me, just for us to recap on how the service was. One of the key things is about being listened to. Did you feel listened to?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything I put down to you felt like we covered all of it in different sessions and had to kind of overcome it and had to kind of go through my day without having to constantly feel anxious and whatnot.
Okay. And one of the things I wanted to ask you was, what do you think about the way you were treated? What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I felt like I was supported throughout the whole, even when I was 8 session, I felt like I was supported. Even with my little brother as well, I felt like, you went out your way to ensure that even he had the support as well. And for that I am really grateful, because I believe he did need the support and he still does need the support as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I just want to distinguish is between the support of CBT. So just to kind of get you clarifying, so you was given CBT with 6 to 14 sessions with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so could you tell me how things are going right now, in a sense of
from when I started?
From when you started, so in a bit of how things are going for you, would you like to just give her just some information about that?
Right now, I'm in a better place.
Okay.
A lot of things that made me anxious don't really make me that anxious anymore.
Okay.
I've been able to go out my way and do things that at one point I felt like I couldn't do anymore. So from when I originally started, I remember even the thought of even coming to see it did make me anxious at first. But then working my way through it and coming to my 8th session, I have come a long way. Like, I've gone on to take a second job, because at first I wouldn't think of my future in a better way. I wouldn't think of it at all. But now, obviously, I've sat here, got myself a second job, so I can make my future better. And I do think of it in a better positive way.
Excellent. So one of the things, the things that what you said is basically that you've been doing things to help you improve. You got yourself a second job, and you've been doing a lot of things that you had not been doing from the time you started CBT. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things in CBT is we kind of work towards a structure. Could you tell me a bit about the things that we work towards? So in a sense, we looked at some goals. Can you remember the goals that first you identified on what the things that you would like to work on?
Obviously one of them was overcoming my father's death. Stuff like social stuff, like going out to places like Westfield. My brother was one of them as well, and I think there was another one. sure there was. I think.
No? So, okay, so 3 goals that we had listed.
Yeah.
So one was the acceptance of your dad. One was being able to link some services involved to get your brother get support, because that was your worry, and overcoming your anxieties. Okay, how has that been for you? If we was to break it down to say, first one about the acceptance of your father's death, and I know it's a painful thing when we lose someone. And from the beginning of the session, it was very hard for you to talk about your father. Is it okay to continue this conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, in a sense of where you are from where you met me, it was a 1, because that was one of the main things that you felt very difficult to do. How are you now?
With my father's death, I am a lot better about it. I've managed to take myself to his grave recently. Did it as a family as well, me, my brother and my sister. I didn't stay there long, but before we going, I was able to go there, yeah.
Okay.
It has gotten better with time as well, and I think obviously with the support as well, it has gotten better. Accepting it, I've accepted it a lot better than what I would have. Yeah.
And the good thing is, accepting, you've been able to share the nice moments that as a family that you and your dad had done together, which was very good, and you was able to talk about it in a session.
Yeah.
Which had become easier for you, and each time when we were in session, there was a bit that I would say, how are you, and has it been in regards to the goal number 1, accepting your dad's passing, which you was able to kind of give me your account by just talking about all the good things and the memories, which I think is nice. So I thank you very much for being able to share that moment with me. Goal number 2, you talked about, in a sense, about managing your anxieties, which you talked about the anxious feelings being around crowded situations, and that had stopped you from doing the things that you needed to do. Can you tell me what you've learned and what you've done in order to overcome those fears?
With that, obviously, I've kind of, when it comes to a situation where I've got to put myself out there, and it will normally make me anxious, it's just them thoughts of, I kind of try to push them thoughts aside and get them positive thoughts in, like it's going to be alright, nothing's going to happen to you.
Excellent.
You're just walking down to the cafe, it's alright. Certain things I still do kind of avoid. I just think if I can avoid it, it's alright.
Right.
The only thing I avoid is big shopping centres. It's just because I know I can go online, I just avoid it. But there is going to be a point where I do need to go in. But there are things like normally I wouldn't really go out on my way to go shopping sometimes. I'd go at a time where I know it's not busy at all, or just try to do online shopping, or go to the local shop rather than go to the supermarket.
Right.
But I have put myself out there, and I do go out my way now to go do shopping.
Excellent.
And yeah.
That's great. And one of the things I wanted to look at was the kind of strategies that we kind of adopted together in order for you to be able to use when you're in that situation. So could you remember the things that we had done, in a sense of looking at how we were able to come relaxation? You said the positive.
It's the thoughts. Yeah, that's what I use. My coping words and whatnot. Yeah, that's what I mainly use. I just sit there. It's alright, and then I just kind of completely push it to the back of my head, and it doesn't bother me. Like, it bothers me as I walk into somewhere, but as soon as I say it's alright, you're just shopping, what's the worst that can happen, and then it's alright. I just literally, because I force myself into it, and you just come out of it, and you feel kind of silly, like, what was I panicking for?
Yes.
But it's alright, yeah.
Okay.
It's my coping words that.
That's been helpful, which is nice for you to share. So last week we done a live session, if you can recall that.
Yeah.
And what did we do?
We had to go into the local cafe, and we had to sit down and eat and talk at the same time. And obviously, most of the time when I've had to do that, I constantly look around and see who's coming in and out, and then obviously it's seeing people I know as well that makes me panic.
Right.
And then I won't look at them directly, because then for me it's like starting a conversation. And starting a conversation, you have to talk and so forth and go on. But obviously I walked in thinking, oh God, here we are, especially being in a work cafe. But after a while, it was alright.
It was alright.
I didn't feel like I had to worry.
Okay.
The way I made myself panic.
So that's something really good for you to kind of give me your feedback on. Did you get highly anxious being in that moment?
At first it was anxious,
Right.
but then as I kind of settled in and within the thoughts and that, it got better. I wasn't as anxious as I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's great in the
Yeah.
sense that you wasn't that highly anxious.
Yeah.
So when you reviewed the things that you had done, what did you notice?
Just noticed there's just people coming in and out. They're not bothered by me, and neither should I be bothered about them, because they're just coming in to get their dinner and go.
Okay.
And it's the exact same thing I was doing. Is I was just coming in to get my dinner and go, and
Excellent.
you know, I sit down. But yeah.
Okay. And were you highly anxious in that moment?
I think about 20 minutes into it, I realised I didn't have to be anxious,
Right.
and I wasn't
You
after
wasn't.
a while. Yeah.
Okay, so that's great, and I'm glad that you was able to give your account of the live exposure task that we had done.
Yeah.
We now have 3 live exposure tasks that we'll be focusing on, which is a shopping centre, which is a task that we'll be doing tomorrow, and then we'll be going to the big rest field, which is great in
Yeah.
the sense of overcoming the fear.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to just ask you is, you talked about the thinking process around the anxieties, and that was your perception of thinking, and you were just going into the cafe. Could you tell me thoughts about your therapist, me as a worker, in the way we worked?
I think from the time I started working with you, my doctor referred me to a normal counsellor, just like sits there and listen, and I couldn't bear it. It was, even though she was just sitting there listening, it was really overwhelming, and I felt like there was no solutions to how I felt or what I was feeling and whatnot. And I feel like having been with you and with the CBT as well, it's just really different. It's just like I felt like the things that I was going through, it was being tackled, and we found ways to work around it and overcome it, and yeah.
Okay, and that's great to hear. Thank you very much. Has the help been good for you?
It has. It's allowed me to kind of go out there and not feel anxious as much, or you know, certain things that made me feel anxious. Like some of them, I don't really feel anxious towards them
Excellent.
anymore. And obviously the others, I am still working towards them.
Right.
But you know, they're things that don't bother me on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
It's just things if I'm in the moment that it might, but it's not a day-to-day basis. The day-to-day basis, I feel like I've overcome a lot of it.
Great.
Yeah.
And I'm thanking you again for sharing that with me. So overall, what was really good about your care? In a sense, what was really good about your care? You talked about you went to another counsellor and you felt overwhelmed. You looked at the CBT structure, it's a bit different. What do you think was good about the care?
As well as listening, there was ways of tackling as well. Like that's the good part about it. It's like you can listen as much as you like, but then it's finding ways to overcome, and that was the best part of it as well. Because sometimes you're sitting there talking and you're getting nothing back from the counsellor that I was seeing, and you know it feels like, right, I am telling you, so what can I do from it? And that's what I felt from you. Like I was able to find a solution to work with the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the best part of it for me.
Okay. And we looked about, well, you talked about, about you having a second job, and I'm just going to move into, has there been any improvements you made within yourself?
It's within that, it was the second job that was the improvement.
Okay.
Even though it's quite public facing, it was daunting. The thought of it going into it was very daunting, but I think where I kind of pushed myself out there to go in there, and it was okay, you know. And because I felt like I pushed myself to get out there and kind of beat that sort of anxiety. Like it's alright, it is a public space, but it's okay. That was, I think for me, was one of my biggest achievements, is going out my way and actually, you know, not only was it just for that as well, like I got to a point where I started thinking positive about my future. At first I wasn't, and it's just like I sit there and I play mind games for myself, like what ifs and whatnot. But at that point I just thought, no, I'm not going to think like that anymore.
Okay. Which I think that in a sense of now looking at yourself, has there been any future aspects of aspirations that you see that you want to now go into? Because there's things that you've talked to me about where you want to go now, which has opened up quite a lot of avenues for you, because you've been able to now push yourself to do things.
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah, obviously because where I live alone and whatnot, and a lot of it's just me and my little brother. It's just got to a point I just think, you know, like I don't know what the future will hold, whatever was, but I just think if there is anything, I'll make it for myself. Where I hope in 10 years' time, I'm working for myself and not for anyone else. And you know, when I wake up in the morning, you know, I wake up with that feeling that I haven't got to go in for anyone else. And I'm hoping I can build up a thingy career where I get into properties and my own businesses, and I don't have to sit there and do it for anyone else. And that's the whole reason I got into get into a second job, so I save as much money as I can, and then
Thank you very much. So basically, you've heard Wahida being able to give an experience of the service in the sense of CBT and the relationship that we've had. And there has been a major improvement where Wahida's been able to talk about, you know, the losses that she had to go through, and also being able to look out for her brother, which was one of the key issues that she wanted support, and also focus on the issues of her anxieties. And all three had been met in a sense of providing a structure with the CBT processes. So I think in my my judgment to this is basically, you know, my aim is to try to fulfill the person's needs, and if that means that they need to talk about an issue where they feel that they need to overcome, that is what I hope to gain.